Well, welcome to Business Today.
Show number 17.
On last week's show, we discussed conversational intelligence, how to get a better strategy. Len Zuks was our special guest and Andrew Ford talked about image. This week, Anne-Marie discusses stress, Andrew discusses how to be confident, and Hellier discusses how to motivate yourself.
Hi and welcome back. Well, show number 17, Gerard.
I can't believe the amount of information we gave to our listeners over those last 16 weeks.
I know. I tell you what, I just want to say, and I'm sure you do too, thank you so much to everybody's support. I think we've clocked up just over 50,000 views with last week's show getting about 8,500 views, Gerard.
Yeah, and what you also don't know is that we broadcast this on the 101 Media Radio show as well.
Yeah.
Where we have up to about 5,000 listeners a day.
Yeah.
To the show?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we've got a really exciting show for you this week, and we've also got some exciting news. Many people have written in and said, look, you're doing all these trainings, and they've asked us, what else are you doing? Well, we have a business club. We're going to have some details below. You're getting a sneak peek on this one. We'll put a link below. You'll be able to see what we're doing in that. And no, it doesn't require your email and your phone number, does it, to click through?
No.
It's not a list building exercise like some people do. But it's on with the show. I'll put the link underneath. You can have a peek at that. First guest, Gerard,
is Andrew Ford, and he's talking about believing in yourself. And if you can't believe in yourself, your staff will see it, and how can you lead?
Well, we're back with Andrew Ford and Doonan. How are you, Andrew?
Well, Michael?
Oh, wow. I think the last show, listening to customers, what a huge piece of advice that was.
Sounds obvious, but we don't always do it, do we?
Sometimes we forget about it, don't we?
Do.
Yeah. Look, one of the questions comes to, you and Carl have been very successful, obviously taken risks to grow a business to where you've become a household name in Western Australia, and got delighted customers all over the place who just rave about you. Me being one of them, by the way.
Thank you.
When the business owner that's setting off, where do you get the confidence to turn yourself in from the mechanics who's servicing to suddenly going, you know what, we can be more than this and better than this, if that's the right way? Yeah. Where does that confidence come from?
I think that's one of the keys to whether a business person is going to be successful, not successful, or just average. So it's a very hard one. I think it really has got to come from within, and we're sort of pre-wired or a disposition to that, to think laterally and just to back yourself. So whether that's the way we're brought up, I'm honestly not sure. But it's definitely a confidence and a mild arrogance without the arrogance being evident, obviously. And just back yourself and just go, I can do this, and I know enough about this subject or the industry that you're in. And it also helps to identify what you think you can do differently to somebody else. So Barry Urquhart, marketing consultant, I remember, says all the time, it's better to be different than it is to be better. So whilst it's great to be the best, and that's what we all strive for, equally as important is differentiating yourself.
When you go to market, and especially with something like Ford and Doonan, the quality is just well above. Do you have fears that you've got that high level quality in a product like an air conditioning and ducted, that customers may not respond to the quality? What happens to the business owner who says, I'm just afraid to up it a little bit like you guys did?
It is very tempting to get caught into that. We've got to compete on price. And it happens to virtually every business, I think, almost every single day. And it takes a few years to get used to being clobbered on price, and if it was purely price, we wouldn't be as successful as what we are. So then you have to deliver the message, the buying, compelling reason why they should potentially pay a little bit more for the reasons and the benefits. And that's always the challenge, the way you present it, the way you market that message as well. So you can't just do it and go, okay, we're better than everyone else, but then they go, well, I don't know you are. You look just the same as all the others. So it is a challenge to always come up with something new in that marketing message and the way you present the quotes and that sort of thing.
It's interesting because you mentioned quality there when you're talking. And I suppose a few people that may not get to your level yet, and you've had so much experience, they're going, how do I identify qualities? How did Ford and Doonan identify the qualities they felt their customers would value? And what are they?
It's a really good question. Because we started the business as service technicians, myself and Kyle Doonan, we were fixing jobs that were just installed so poorly. So it was really just became so evident to us that it's easy to soar like an eagle when you work with turkeys, as the saying goes. So it was quite easy for us that we was going, why are we even fixing this? This should not have failed after year 5, for example. It should last 10 years. And then we just tweaked it from there. So, okay, if we did this, it'll last better, or this bit's going to be better quality if we buy it from a different supplier. So it's a matter of identifying what you and your industry may already be doing and look for the weaknesses in that industry space.
And obviously the customers have responded, because an air conditioner isn't, well, one, it adds value to a house. 2, you don't want it breaking down every 3, 4, 5 years. And yours, you suddenly doubled and tripled lifespans, and people are going, this is amazing.
That's right. We still work on systems that myself and Kyle used to put in 30 years ago when we're still on the tools, and they're still working, albeit only just. And sometimes those clients, Mrs. Petman Grove or something, might bring out the original quote still with the drawing of a hand drawing, which we did back then. And it's so cute. And they're saying, oh, is he still around? They're amazed that the original founders are still in the business as well.
So Ford and Doonan's success, and that you'd pass on the advice to another business owner, is look for the, maybe not the failings, but the
weaknesses.
The weaknesses.
Yeah. Going back to listening to your clients again, is do the clients continually ask the same question that is so obvious to you, but obviously it isn't to them, that even if you just gave them some documentation at the end of the job that you've done for them, whatever that job may be, that overcome that question and save them even asking it. Just little things like that. And things we did straight away in our business was the operating manuals that come in the box from the air conditioner, written back then in Japanese English. And most suppliers will unrip the box if they even remember to give the client the manual. It was a very poor quality manual. It was purely specifically on the air conditioning unit. We straight away threw that in the bin and created our own one. So it was a point of difference. We didn't just tell them how to use the air conditioner. We told them how they could get the best performance out of the air conditioner. Running costs, running tips, and that sort of how to reduce the running costs. So straight away to say, well, that manual's pretty ordinary. I think we can do better, and it was easy to do better. That's a classic example of just what a common. Just listen again to your customer.
Wow. No wonder Ford and Doonan's had 35 years of success. Thank you so much, Andrew. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
Well, there we have Andrew Ford. Believe in yourself, confidence in yourself. No wonder he's been in business for 35 years.
But today's show is all about believing in yourself. And one way of believing in yourself is to know what business is about, is to have those mentors, is to have those coaches to help you to get that confident to do that.
I know, I must admit, when we first started doing this show, 17 weeks ago, I think, Gerard, you said, are you crazy? I think you said, how are we going to do this? How are we going to keep it up? But isn't it sometimes, and I hear you say this all the time, and it's funny, your SMART formula, you put the extra A in there.
Yes, is to be ambitious.
Yeah. I tell you what, our next guest, this is when we're out and about, this is part 2, it was very popular last week. Len Zuks, a Perth artist, sculptor, painter, and he has a message in this one where he's saying you really do need to believe in yourself, Gerard, because there's enough people out there, if you listen to them, you won't be doing anything.
If we listen to those non-believers, we will not get there. If we listen to our mentors and our coaches, we'll get there.
And see, that's the thing we lose when we get older. Someone spoils the process. Because art didn't sell regularly, you cannot have the security of a family life if you're dependent on art. That means the wife would have to work or something. So I had to pull my weight, and I've worked all my life. I did a trade as a fitter and turner with Telecom. Was there for 20 years. Then I went to the university. I was a teaching technician. I worked in the physics department, and I was with maintenance. But it was not a mentally demanding job. I was good at making things, so I was able to discharge my duties to the employer quite easily. But the thing is, working at the university, they're always maintaining and building things. The bins were full of gold daily. So, you know, it's amazing. Wherever I went, it's like everything was provided for me. I have reverted back to my roots, which is the careless kid, because that is what it's all about. I make things through my hands because I can. I've got the space to do it because I've accumulated and I've invested in it and I've got it. There's no one who can tell me to go and stand in the corner and behave and do it properly. I do it my way. I do it my way with the steel. I do it my way with all the sculptures that you see around. It's not a big break, but it was a lovely little vector. There was a counsellor who operated in Mundaring. He loved artists and art and all of that, and he would use the Bilgoman swimming pool as an art gallery. The paintings would hang all around the fence, back to the road, and people would come in. I don't know if they paid, but they would come in and they'd have this walk around this amazing outside art gallery. And she looked at my painting and she said, "It's all right, but it's not the best because he hasn't got any red in the trees, and trees should have red in it." And I thought to myself, what a silly girl. When she went away, I put some red in it. She was so right. She was so right. Yeah. You know, I put green next to that, and it'll jump and jive. It really will. Because there are a lot of people who buck the laws and come out with some grand new things. And the only way you'll get new things is to push the fence over that people have built and go into new places. You know, someone said, if you're on a path, get off it. Metaphorically, you're not going to do it if you follow rules and continue same old. The family cope, when I say the family, I refer to my wife here, who said, you spend so much time doing your paintings and that. If you had a second job, you'd get paid more. What are you sticking with it for? But there it is. They said the hard thing is you just can't separate it. And I think it's really important that for your peace of mind and your contentment in this realm is to live with yourself. Vincent van Gogh, you know, not allowed to be in the Royal Academy, wasn't accepted, only sold one painting. Bottom line, what makes me happy? Making things. And no one can stop me making things. So if they want to see my work, the greatest collection is here in my personal domain. Yeah. But Byford, the town of Byford, has a considerable, really big pieces, and 10. There'll be 11th one there, and another one ordered for next year. So as an artist, I'm so grateful for these people to be that visionary and that helpful to my career, but my skill has ended up making their public domain really interesting for people who pass through. So it's become a beautiful collaborative thing. There are people who believe in what they're doing in Byford, and they've taken me for a whirlwind ride of great joy. Yeah. I think because of there's a daintiness about like the cheekbone line and everything, and the hair, but there's also the indication of the skirt. But there's something really, see that point on the sculpture? I'm going to show you something about, right, say you've got a head, halfway between there and there I put a line. What do you think is on that line?
Nose.
It's the eyes.
Okay.
And halfway between there and there I put a line. What do you think is here?
Now.
No, it's the nose. And halfway between here and there, I don't really have to say, it already,
yeah.
We sort of put the eyes sort of higher in the head. And the illusion for that seems to happen because, you know, the hair covers. Look at it. You see what I mean? It's perfectly proportioned. Sometimes the hair goes higher. For a man, you comb the hair over the side and big ears. But now we come to the face on this girl. If you extrapolate the proportions from there and get to the bottom of the nose, that face works. The point of the nose is important in that, and you come down to the chin. All the eyes and the top of the head come. You can see where I touched it. It already looks like the eyes. And then she's got this abstracted, and that is the head of the girl. Oh no, we've got a cheekbone line happening there. So we might look all abstract, but the proportions are worked out from the perfect proportions of the half, eyes, head, nose, and then mouth. There you go.
Were you taught that, or did you just happen to fall upon it, or?
No, when I was in tech school, someone showed me, and I said, "Here's me, an artist who was able to replicate reality all my life." I said, "For real?"
Yeah, it works.
And for real. My successes and strengths, I think, come from the fact that I stuck with it. If you had my ears and you heard the things people said to me to try and discourage me, you would also agree, how did you keep on going? But I chose to believe in myself. My one piece of advice to anyone going into business or particularly becoming an artist is self-belief. There are so many little words shared out there that can rock your boat, that can throw you off the rails, and if you believe it, if you choose not to believe yourself and believe them, you'll be off the rails and you'll lose all your contentment, you'd lose all the things that guide you, all the things that make it work for you. It's being true to yourself and believing then in yourself. Self-belief.
I really love that. I'm looking forward to getting out and about and seeing more businesses as well. So look, if you've got a business, you want to feature it, you want us to pop out and do some videoing around your place, let us know. We're always looking for those nice business messages to help other people along their way. The next thing I think really does help people. Look, we got 1 Minute Millionaire, and we say it is millionaire strategies in 60 seconds, Gerard. And you took this to the next step. You went, well, I've asked the millionaires and they've only got 60 seconds to answer.
It is so good, and it's one of my favorites is just to listen to these guys in 60 seconds and get that gold nugget. So the question for this week is that your daily behavior reflects your beliefs. What is one of your beliefs?
I believe that when I get up in the morning, every day is going to be a great day. I have positive thoughts and I think positively all through the day.
As far as daily behaviour goes, it means being organised from the morning onwards. It doesn't always happen as well as you would like it to, but belief in organisation, without organisation, you just got nowhere to go, no plan for the day to be able to actually achieve what you need to achieve.
One of my beliefs is that if what I'm doing inspire only one person in the world, that means I've done my job. And that helps me keep going. And no matter what happens, and especially now during COVID-19, I've been doing a lot of free work and helping others, because I think just knowing that I've helped someone, and when I receive those praises, that helps me to sleep at night peacefully.
Yeah, well, my beliefs would be that you can get whatever you want in this world if you help enough other people get what they want.
I've got a tagline for me is happy, thank you, more please. For me, coming from a place of abundance rather than a place of scarcity, you just see what you have instead of what you don't have, and that there's so much to be grateful for. Your brain also secretes dopamine, which is the feel-good hormone, as soon as you are grateful, and it also initiates action. So it helps you to get into that action. So gratitude to me on so many levels is crucial.
Gerard, your 60-second questions. When you first started this, I remember the look on people's faces. And how hard was it? And I'm sure people can relate, so you can really appreciate that it's very, very good these people actually put themselves under the pump. But how hard is it, first of all, for them to confine their answers to 60 seconds?
It was, and when we ask them now, because they're used to it, because they don't know the question beforehand.
No.
That is the whole idea.
Yeah.
But you can see them thinking and then give the answer. They're getting better and better because now they're getting much more concise.
Much more precise. And I wonder how you're going if those questions are asked of you. Now, in South Africa, we have our South African representative, Anne-Marie, over there, good friend of yours. And We did an interview with it. What was the interview this week that we did with her, Joanne?
I think it's all about stress and how to manage stress. Because if you are under stress all the time, how can you believe in yourself as well? So I think it's all these tools to manage those stress so that you can believe in yourself.
Well, here we are again with Anne-Marie, and I really do appreciate it. This is a interesting thing, doing Zoom with you, Anne-Marie, and the time differences between us in Western Australia and you there in South Africa.
Yes, yeah, it's very interesting. It's early here still and quite cold because we're going into winter now, but it's lovely. And thank you so much for the opportunity, Michael.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. And conversation intelligence, if someone missed that, go back and have a look at that one. That was a great conversation. One thing, though, that I do find, and I don't know if it is a trend or maybe I'm just getting older, so I see more of it, but there seems to be a lot more stress in not just from schools to workplaces, whether people are employed or running businesses. And I thought for someone like yourself who does emotional intelligence and in this conversational intelligence, everything to do with helping people navigate this space, first of all, I suppose, are you seeing an increase in stress? And I suppose, what effect does it have on ours and our brains?
Definitely. I think one of the big reasons would be all the information and technology. So we're constantly connected to some device. And we constantly have this influx of information, which already on the brain, the stage of the brain, there's a lot of players there constantly. So your brain really almost goes into overdrive because it's not clear on what it needs to focus. So stress definitely is increasing. With regards to the brain, Michael, very interesting that as soon as you do perceive something as stressful, you literally go into an away state because your brain is warning you, whoa, something, protect yourself, first check this out. Then it goes to a different part of the brain, which is called the limbic part of the brain, your emotional brain. And as soon as you go there, you literally secrete cortisol and adrenaline, which prepares you for fight and flight. And if we sit there, we literally attack, or we defend, or we withdraw, or we, those skeptic people that say, I'll check this out first. So stress definitely has a big impact on the brain and on the outcome as well.
Yeah, I'm just picking up on when you're saying, and I guess a lot of people have heard of fight or flight, and that is like in our brain itself is from ancient times. But fight or flight, I'm finding, doesn't seem to have much room anymore, much space in today's modern world. We don't seem to be able to fight or flight anymore. We just seem to have to learn, adapt, and Is this change? Is the fight or flight still there, but do we have to then subdue it and replace it with something else?
So obviously it's your CEO, you might perceive him as a lion and you might want to run away, but you can't. But what literally happens in the brain and in your body is that it prepares you to fight or flight. So you might not do it, even though you might want to, but you override that socially because it's not correct, it's not the correct behavior. But what that means, that cortisol stays in your body and we never get rid of it. Interestingly enough, cortisol has got a shelf life of 26 hours. So when you get flushed by cortisol, stays there for 26 hours. But if we continuously in a state of stress, you get flushed with this. And this is why, long-term stress really affects your health in a very bad way. We all know, eat healthy, exercising is crucial because that is a way in which you can actually balance your neurotransmitters. We know with exercising, you secrete serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, which are your feel-good hormones, and you get rid of all that stress. For me, that really works, Michael, is I have a thinking partner. So every Monday morning at 8, it's a standing appointment, we have a conversation. It's just a space that's safe and that there's no judgment in, and there's no agenda for that space. But what happens in your brain is you get to talk things through, you get to talk your thinking through. And that already gives you some clarity, and it also calibrates you for the week. It sets you up in a stronger way than what you would go into the week feeling stressed and overwhelmed. So I find that that's a very good and a practical technique that works for me.
Wow. I actually really, really resonate with that. So a thinking partner to set your week up, no judgment. You can just talk through your thoughts, and that empowers you and puts you in the right, I suppose, the right frame of mind, and puts you in the right positioning to have a great week, whether you are an employee, an employer, running self-employed, going through school. Does that work for just about anybody, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. When last have you had a conversation with someone that it's about you, that you feel free and safe enough that you can just be honest about what's going on in your mind? But normally it's about giving and about listening and about understanding. This time it is about you, and that someone listens to you without wanting to fix anything, without wanting to help you. And it is unbelievable. It's magic what happens there. That if you just have an opportunity to talk through your thinking, it's extremely powerful.
I love that. A thinking partner who is not there to try and fix you or judge you, just to listen to you and have a great conversation. Thank you so much. That was so insightful. I love having these conversations with you, Anne-Marie. I think they're really, really good.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much.
I must admit, I do enjoy chatting with Anne-Marie over there. We recorded that earlier on. So people were saying, "Oh, don't you remember what you talked about?" Actually, no. We talked to so many people. But her talking about stress, and I think when you believe in yourself, it doesn't stop stress. So you still need to have that stress management in there to help you along.
But also, the thing is, we all need a little bit of stress, otherwise nothing will get done.
True.
It's just how we manage that stress.
Absolutely. Look, talking about stress, our next guest that we talk to each week, Helia Singh, talking about stress. I mean, she came to Australia with nothing, couldn't even speak English. She's going through uni and using a dictionary to convert the language into English, or back into her language, so she knew what was going on. I'm thinking, how much stress must she have had? But she certainly had a belief in herself, Gerard.
Oh, definitely. And when you speak to her, you can see it and you can feel it.
Absolutely. So here she is, Miss Helia Singh. I was watching your video on your YouTube channel and talking about your values, golden values, shadow values, and you made a very interesting comment on there about motivation and staying inspired. And I thought, what a great thing you were talking about, especially in this time frame. How are you finding you're helping yourself and the other people that you coach and mentor to stay motivated and inspired during such difficult times?
Well, I think the great Zig Ziglar always said that motivation is something that you need a daily, like taking a bath. So we need to have that. But when you are inspired, you do it beyond any reason. You are not waiting for the right time to do it or judging whether it is okay to do it or not. You just get up and do that. So if you have ever experienced in life that is something that just makes you to get up and do something, that means you are inspired. You know, willpower and motivation is something that runs out, and basically the energy level goes down. But with inspiration, it seems as if you have an infinite amount of energy to do something. And for me, once I found out my shadow values and we agreed to them, so then now I'll do things with inspiration to help my values, both golden values and shadow values, to keep me going.
With inspiration, we find a lot of people do struggle in this area. I mean, you say motivation, and I've always had a thing, you know, motivational seminars and quotes. They are pep you up for a time and they fall. What is the difference though? What's the difference of someone motivating you and someone helping you discover a shadow value to get, and I hope people watch the video by the way, but just in this segment, just give them a bit of a taste.
You see, motivation, as you mentioned, Michael, is something that comes from outside. We need to go somewhere or read something or talk to someone to get motivated, which is nothing wrong with that. It's all fine. But inspiration is something that comes from inside you. And it's just back to individual that what inspire you to do something. So if you only need motivation to do something, that means you are not living a fulfillment life. That means you are still lacking something to inspire you daily. And that's what definitely I suggest you to watch and do the exercise to find your values and shadow values.
You did say that some people shy away from shadow values because of the negative connotations, but you can turn it into a positive, and this is where you can really discover inspiration. Am I right? Did I listen to that correctly?
Right. That's exactly right. Because you see, our action first has to feed our shadow values, then it comes as a golden values. But if we only please our golden values and not to pay attention to our shadow values, no wonder we feel demotivated and we need someone else to tell us, get up and do something.
Wow. Show number 17, Gerard, it's a wrap.
To me, I think this week was one of our best shows, is how to motivate yourself, how to manage stress, how to believe in yourself to be a good leader in your business.
Absolutely, because as we always say, it always starts with us, doesn't it? And I remember that old phrase I was told once, that no matter where you go, you take yourself with you. So you can't run away from yourself. So I think if you want to grow your business and you want to grow yourself, it actually does start with yourself first, doesn't it?
And we talked about the program earlier in the show on the 1 Minute Millionaire, and that is where we actually start. We start with yourself, with your inner pillars, heart, mind, body and soul.
Yeah.
And that's where we start, because you are the business.
Absolutely, you certainly are the business. Look, a few people have written in wondering where we're going with this. Yes, we are going to have our Millionaire Business Club. It's already semi-launched, so not fully launched. And look, we want to give I think what a few people do, they go on goal setting and don't have a major step. So we're going to put the first training in place just so you can see where you're at and where you actually want to go, and see if, joining clubs and doing courses for you. No, there's going to be no emails. You forbid the phone numbers as well. It isn't an email collection list. We're going to put the link below. Have a look, try it out for yourself. It's actually a training session. You're going to do the PDF downloads. I haven't told you yet, but Gerard always does the PDF downloads. Absolutely free, no emails. Give it a look and see what you want. We'd love to have your comments. Love to have the comments about your show. And with that, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.